So I'm just coming off of the video I'm also going to post on dative verbs. And I'm going to move on to a review on the present perfect. So when we're talking to people in like everyday conversation in German, this is going to be the way we usually talk about the past. So we'll just say typical or conversational past tense. This is a little different than in English. So in English, we use the simple or narrative past as our conversational past most of the time. But we do have the present perfect as well. So I can say, I went to the grocery store. I went to the supermarket. That's a little bit shorter to type. This is simple past. And the German present perfect would be the equivalent of I have gone to the supermarket. So this is present perfect. And this is the one we're going to be focusing on in our German conversational past. So I have gone to the supermarket. So we can look first at how this is set up in English. We've got I, our subject. We have a verb. And we don't really think of it as conjugation in English, but we do conjugate verbs. Like, I could say, he has gone to the supermarket. And there we have a different conjugation of to have. So I'll underline this. We're conjugating the second verb, and this is called the helping verb or the auxiliary. Then we have gone, which is our present perfect form of to go in English. And we're going to know this as our Partizip 2 or past participle. So he has gone, I have gone, we have gone, you have gone, you has gone. So this is always going to stay the same in English, regardless of the subject and the associated conjugation of to have. And it's going to be the same in German, where we'll have our participle and the participle is not conjugated. So like that. So all sentences in present perfect require a participle, Partizip 2, and a helping verb or auxiliary. So he has gone to the supermarket. Subject, conjugated verb, participle, and then we don't have a direct object here, but we have an indirect object. He's going to the supermarket. So there are two primary differences between German and English. So just say differences. In German, we can use have or to be as our helping verb. So haben oder sein. Whereas in English, we just use to have. So this is something that I would personally recommend just reviewing with your vocabulary, because it's not necessarily that clear cut when you'll use haben oder sein, but typically, and I'll put this in italics because it's, again, not always the case. It's not like a hard, fast rule. Typically, verbs that have sein as the helping verb are verbs of movement from place to place or like a transition from state to state. So I can say, like, if I wake up in the morning, ich bin aufgewacht. Aufwachen is to wake up. So we have our participle, and I'm going to highlight participles in this kind of blue color. And we have our conjugated helping verb. I'll put that in green. Ich bin aufgewacht. So I am woken up. If you think of that Oppenheimer quote from when the first A-bomb test was successful, I am become death, destroyer of worlds. You could think about that. I am become. This is not what this sentence means. It means I woke up, but this is basically the form we're using. I am woken up. I am awoken. He is risen. So, ich bin aufgewacht. Ich bin zur Schule gegangen. Actually, I'm going to get rid of this and put the translation so as not to confuse you. I have woken up, or I have awoken. I have gone to school. And if you look at this sentence, zur Schule gegangen, we see that our participle is coming at the end of our sentence or clause, if you're adding multiple clauses to a sentence. And that is another difference from English. So in English, in these sentences we have up here, we have I have gone, so our participle is coming right after the conjugated helping verb. And in German, that the participle is going to go to the end. So our conjugated verb in German, if you recall, is always going to be in the second position, so immer an zweiter Stelle. And I'll bold conjugated. The only exceptions to this are yes or no questions or imperatives. So our participle, Partizip 2, end of sentence or clause. So what I mean by the end of the clause is if I have a sentence with two or more clauses, then I can, it doesn't need to come at the very end of the sentence. So I can say, ich bin aufgewacht und dann bin ich zur Schule gegangen. So I woke up and then I went to school, or I have awoken and then I have gone to school. So we've got two participles and two helping verbs here. I mean, the helping verb is the same. I've just included it twice. So we have two clauses, and we've got this conjunction und between them. I have woken up and then I have gone to school. Or in conversational English, I woke up and I went to school. I can add a verb with haben instead of sein as the helping verb. So I can say, ich bin aufgewacht. Und danach, and afterwards, habe ich gefrühstückt. So I breakfasted afterwards. Or I could say, danach habe ich Frühstück gegessen. So I woke up and then I ate breakfast. So those are our two main differences, that we have two different helping verbs in German and that our participle is going to be separated from the helping verb, unlike in English. So how do we find the participle? There are a lot of irregular participles, but there is a formula that a lot of verbs will follow. Wachen oder aufwachen is one of them. to wake up. This is a separable verb. Ich wache auf, I wake up. So when we conjugate, we're not considering our separable prefix, we're only conjugating the wachen part. And the stem of this verb wachen is wach. So when we have a regular verb like this, we'll do ge plus Stamm, der Wortstamm, word stem, plus T. So wach is our stem, so we get ge, wach, t, oder gewacht. And with separable verbs, or verbs with separable prefixes, we attach those to the participle. So aufgewacht in this case. Spielen is another regular one. Ich habe Fußball gespielt. So if you recall, the stem of our verb is going to be the part before the en in our infinitive. So ge plus Spiel plus T. Gespielt. Gestern haben wir Fußball gespielt. So yesterday we played football or soccer. We're going to invert our word order because our conjugated verb always comes in the second position, even if we're starting with a unit of time. Our subject is always going to come either immediately before or immediately after the conjugated verb. So gestern haben wir Fußball gespielt oder wir haben gestern Fußball gespielt. And these are both correct. The website I personally recommend for looking up participles, I'm going to have an inception moment here, is verbformen.de. So that's verbformen.de. And we can just look up our verb. So let's look up fahren, for example. So we'll find our verb card. We see it's unregelmäßig. So it's irregular. We're not going to watch this. And if you see where it says sein here, that means that the participle is going to be with sein as the helping verb, and we see it here as well in this third form. So we have the as es form in present. We have the simple past form. So that would be like I drive, I drove, I have driven. That's the order this is in. Or he drives, he drove, he has driven. So we've got our conjugated form of sein and our participle gefahren. Unfortunately, again, this will have a lot of rote memorization, but hopefully this is pretty straightforward, and I'm going to put up the notes for this and for the dative verbs in the class Google Drive. Und ich wünsche euch wieder viel Erfolg.